Snapshots 4.2.6 of Minecraft 26.3 brings a bunch of small interesting additions and changes, including some new variants of the abandoned camp. In this video we'll also take a closer look at all the abandoned camp variants. So let's check it out. Good day, my name is MagentaLewi and welcome to another Minecraft update video. If you don't want to miss out on any essential updates to Minecraft, but don't want to waste your time on videos about bug fixes and code changes in every single snapshot, subscribing to my channel is the perfect way to only get the news worth knowing, and it also helps a small YouTuber grow. I have not covered snapshots 4 or 5 yet, as most Mojang employees are on summer vacation at the moment, making these snapshots very small. So before we get into the more interesting snapshot 6 and take a look at all abandoned camp variants, let's quickly get through the minor interesting parts of snapshots 4 and 5. The texture of the hay bales has changed to line up with the straw bed, so now the red lines actually matches the pillow on the straw bed. So yeah, you can make some pretty big luxury straw beds where it all actually matches. Apparently the Poplar door has been changed now for the 3rd time, hopefully making this the version of the door the final one. And if you're confused as to what has actually changed about this door, it's actually just a few pixels on the hinges as far as I understand. And now that I say that, I'm actually a tad confused on why the hinges do not connect on the backside here. Shouldn't they connect all the way through? Well, anyways, maybe they will change it for a 4th time then. But yeah, this definitely shows that Mojang does care about the details when creating the updates, and maybe that explains why some updates take so much time even though it's not that much content. Armadillos now choose not to drown instead of hiding in their shell when they get scared whilst in water. So as you can see here, the armadillo does not hide in its shell, but actually tries to get to land instead. And then as soon as it gets to land, now it hides in its shell. So before, it would actually be hiding in its shell if you scared it in water, and then eventually drowning itself. So that's a pretty good change. As you can see here, the debug screen has changed a bit, so now it's a little bit smaller, and you can change this by pressing F3 and F6 together. That will open the debug options, and you change the size of this down here, so this overrides the debug overlay with a different GUI scale than the rest of the game, because there are some GUI settings, of course, under options, where you can choose sizes of text and such, and this will like override it, so it has a different size than the other GUI texts in the game. And you can then choose, I don't know if you can see it, is up here, so this is scale 1, 2 and 3, so you can have it in this size as well, and you can have it all the way up to 4, which I think was the original. And yeah, so that is unchanged, so that is like the size it had before. But if we go to auto, it will now be this size instead. Another change here is that we now have access to the player speed. So if I just put that on always, then you can see we still have speed up here in the corner, and that will show the player speed in blocks per tick. So if I just walk, that is 0.216, and then if I start running, it is 0.281. And it will also count flying, so if we just start flying, that is 1.089. Actually, also if we just fly upwards, which is slower, that is 0.375, and then falling is... oh, that keeps going quicker and quicker. So of course this is very usable when riding horses, testing the quickest horse. If you do some horse breeding, mule breeding, whatever, then you can like test the speed and find your fastest horse. The creative inventory order has been changed, so there are some changes in, I think, all tabs, but specifically all the mineral related items and blocks has been changed in their order. So firstly, if we look at all the mineral items in the ingredients tab, then you can see that all the non-tiered ingredients go first. So that is of course coal and emerald and lapis lazuli. That is not in any kind of order, it's not tiered. But then when we move into copper, iron, gold, diamond and ancient debris, or well, netherite, that is actually tiered. So once again, it's copper, iron, gold, and then copper, iron, gold, netherite scraps, which moves into the netherite ingot. So that is now the new order. And that is also the case for the building blocks. So as you can see here, the mineral blocks comes all the way down here, so you have all the stone and wood first, and then you move into the minerals down here after the blackstone and the endstone. And I will actually return to the order of the other blocks later, but then at the end here you get to the minerals. So once again, the coal, the emerald, the lapis lazuli and all that is not ordered. Well, they have their own order, it seems, but they are not tiered at least. And you can also see how quartz is part of the minerals, and then it goes into, once again, iron, gold, diamond, and then netherite. But wait a second, there's something off here, isn't there? And that is, of course, the copper blocks that should, according to their own order, be in between the quartz and the iron. So all the copper blocks should be here. And they have explained this by saying, well, there's so many copper blocks in the game that of course it wouldn't make sense to put them up here. But then again, then why do this order? This is just a weird mix to me. I don't know if I'm just nitpicking here, but I think this is a very weird choice. You choose to do a mineral order and you choose to put the tiered ones in a specific order, but then in this specific tab, the building blocks, you choose to put the copper at the end because there's a lot of it. I mean, if you have a specific order, if you have a system, then you gotta do that 100%. Would it really do that much of a difference if the copper started here and then you'd have iron, gold, diamond and netherite underneath these? I don't know. It doesn't seem logical to me. Like, it's a fine order to do it like this, but then to not follow the rules, I don't know. It's just weird to me. I don't know. Now, the other thing that has changed, of course, I think this has been the case for the spawn eggs for a long time. So you have all the overworld mobs first, and then it goes specifically into the nether mobs, and then after that comes the end mobs. And this is also what I was talking about. So in the building blocks you have the wood items, but then it's all the overworld wood items, and then you get the nether items afterwards. And once again with the stone, you have all the overworld stone, and that moves into the nether stone and then the end stone. So that is ordered by dimensions instead, and that is actually now the same in the natural blocks. So in here you will also see how everything is now ordered accordingly to that. And actually, now that I look at it, it does not make much sense, does it? I guess it depends how you look at it, and this is also one of my pet peeves about this way of doing it. It's ordered by overworld items, and we can all agree that grass blocks, sand and all that is an overworld item. But then as you can see here, I guess this counts as like an overlap. So sometimes you will find these in the overworld and sometimes you will find them in the nether, and then it moves into the nether blocks. But then we get to a bone block, and bone blocks also naturally spawn in the overworld, so why is that placed here and not up here? And then finally that moves into the end stone. So it is ordered from overworld to nether to end. But does that really make sense to do it like that? And then once again you have the same order here. Or maybe actually no, you don't. With the other mineral blocks you had coal, emerald, lapis lazuli, then you had amethyst, but they are down here, and then the redstone. And then you'd have copper before iron, but here it's the other way around. Actually, it's the same way down here. Why would iron come before copper here? That is super odd, so I think they're gonna change this again. I know it's a pet peeve, I know it doesn't matter that much, but I just don't understand why spend the time on something like this when it doesn't seem logical at all. Also, another thing about this is that if it's ordered by dimension, I don't think that's very welcoming for new players. Most new players I know in Minecraft, the first thing they do is open up a creative world. And then of course they are completely new to the game and they want to find the different blocks, they want to look through it, maybe they have an idea. Maybe they want to find some stone and then they look at the building blocks, they want to build something with stone. Okay, you can see all this is wood, okay, that makes sense. wow, here we have stone, so this must be the stone variants, right? And then maybe you stop right there, because then it turns into sandstone, and okay, this must be all the stone variants that is in the game. But actually, if you move further down, well, here you have a whole bunch of new kinds of stone that actually matches the regular stone very well. But why are they down here? Well, because it's not part of the overworld dimension. But if you're new to the game and have only played creative worlds, that does not make sense at all. Why would you know, or how would you know that these black stones relates to another dimension? I mean, it's just confusing to me. Like, why would you not have all the stones together? Why would you pull them away from each other like this? Just because of the dimensions. So once again, creative is used a lot by new players, but then you have to have the knowledge about dimensions to actually be able to figure out where everything is in the creative menu. I think I've talked about this before when they did the change to spawn eggs, so at least now it's obvious what the spawn eggs actually spawn, because they have changed the look of them. But this way of ordering does not make sense. If I know there's a zombie in this game, I would think, okay, I go to the bottom because that's a set. But then, what is this? E, and S. Why is this together? Well, that's because they are in the same dimension, the ender dimension, but how would I know that if I have not played the normal game, if I'm just playing creative? Why does this make sense that it would be in the end? How do I find a zombie then? I mean, there is a sense to it, but it doesn't make sense for new players. I don't know, it's a small thing, I just don't understand why they spend their time doing these minor changes. That isn't really logical, in my mind at least. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. Am I just nitpicking here, or do I have a point? Like, I don't understand why they make this order. So apparently, since 1.21.4, it no longer did extra damage to hit the Ender Dragon in the head. But that bug has now been fixed, so if you are going in for a melee attack, you should not hit it on its body, you should try and hit the head, because that does extra damage. Oh my goodness, what are you even doing, buddy? Terraforming? And finally, for Snapshot 4, you can now finally use portals when in spectator mode. So when you're a spectator, you would just go through the portals, so you cannot use them. But if you look at a portal and then just press the use button, you would be able to go through, of course, if the other side was generated. Creative mode, we fly through. Now it is loaded, and then if I turn into spectator, I just want to watch the world that has been generated. I can then press the use button, and then we go into the overworld again. So now you can finally use all portals as a spectator. Oh my god, that went flying. So that was everything relevant for the casual player in Snapshot 4. And honestly, for Snapshot 5, there was no relevant changes for the casual player, so let's quickly move on to Snapshot 6. Snapshot 6 of course added a new campsite variant for each biome, which we'll take a closer look at in a moment. But first, Snapshot 6 also changed the options yet again. So now the world options have been moved into the game menu, where the open to land option used to be. So if we click the world options, you can now see it has been divided into a general option, which is all the things that would normally be in the world options. But then there's also the multiplayer section of the world options, and this is now where you can change it from offline to LAN world. And this is also where you can now choose whether or not players joining should be able to use commands. And if you are looking for the online options that was part of the multiplayer options at some point, you will be able to find them under the regular options. So they are just up here. Before we take a look at all the abandoned camp variants, I'd like to mention that thanks to you guys, I've become an official YouTube partner, and as a thank you, I've set up memberships on the channel that gives tons of perks to all that donates. It will not take anything from the casual viewer, but there are perks to get if you donate and become a member of the channel. All donations given will go straight into more video production, I promise you that. And joining my Discord community, linked in the description, is also a free shortcut to support my channel and always be notified of new content. Back to the video. And so now we finally get into the closer look at all of the new camp variants. And before we actually get into exactly the camps, I just want to introduce you to this website. It is created by a guy called Ewan Howell, and you can find Ewan Howell's website. It's like this, it's just ewanhowell.com. And Ewan is actually a guy that makes a lot of cool things. So without going into much detail of it, he has a Discord and he makes a lot of plugins and resource packs and tools and everything related to Minecraft. So I definitely recommend checking him out. He has made a lot of cool things, and he also has a YouTube channel. I can see here that he also has like a Minecraft title generator. I might have to look into that because that's pretty cool. So yeah, definitely check out Ewan Howell. He is the one that is behind this very awesome model viewer, or well, structure viewer here. And let me just quickly show you this. So he has added every structure and feature from Minecraft into this program, so you can just check them out. For an example, if we look at the end city, there's like all of the parts that will generate in end city, and you can look at them all by themselves, or you can like add them together so you can look at them at the same time next to each other. And there's also things like the ship, that's really cool. And you can also do this, so you can look at the blocks used to make this structure, and it's really cool. So most common, you need 557 purple blocks and 175 purple stairs if you want to recreate the ship. I'm definitely gonna use this program a lot more often, and I can also choose to walk around it, and you just control it like in Minecraft, so that will also allow you to go into the ship and take a look around. If we have a look at the chest at the pillager outpost, for an example, you can see what are the rules for what will actually spawn in the chest when you open it up. You can also see all of the items, so there's a 100% chance of a dark oak log spawning in the chest at a pillager outpost. And then the most rare items is the 11% chance of getting a book in there. And you can also see an example of what the chest might have inside it. So this could be what the chest would have, and then you can just do a reroll. This might be how the chest would look, this might be how the chest would be, and this might be how the chest would be filled with items. So that is such a cool website. Ewan Howell, you are a legend. Now, of course, we are here to look at the new camp variants added to snapshot 6 of Minecraft 26.3, and the first one here is the bamboo jungle. So now we have a very abandoned campsite here with a lot of webs, of course, and besides the barrel there's actually a hidden chest in here. And we can also take a look at what you get in these. So there's a very high chance of getting a potion, and then there's also a chance of getting some iron gear, and a 35.5% chance of getting diamonds in these chests here. So next up we have the birch forest, and that has a boulder, and would you look at that, there's actually also a hidden copper chest right there. So very nice one. Then we have the cherry grove, new campsite with a small lake. Very cute. Let's have a look. Is there a hidden copper chest here? It does not look like it. Then the new one for the dappled forest is just a very basic one. It's like a lowered down camp, and hey, that's actually a copper chest right there. Maybe there is one for all of these. If we go to the meadows, it's like up on a hill. I really like the feel of this one. That's very nice. Once again with the hidden copper chest. Then we have the old growth pine taiga, and that has a lot of boulders, and there's also a hidden copper chest in this one. The forest campsite actually has like some elements from a mine shaft. I think that's very interesting that they've chosen to bring that up, because that would only make sense if it went into a mine shaft, wouldn't it? But anyways, that's very interesting that they chose to do that. Now the flower forest has this very beautiful rose hill Very, very nice. The old growth birch forest adds another one that has a lot of like boulders, and then apparently you can also choose to sit up here on the cushions on the rocks, so that's very fun. If we go to the Pale Garden, it's another hill one, and it's actually like a little cavern or a little cave in here, so to speak. So yeah, that's very nice. We got the Snowy Taiga, which is like an old ruined igloo, it kind of looks like. The Windswept Forest is a lot of like rocky formations, very tall ones. And there we go, another hidden cover chest, the Taiga. So I really like this one. It's beautiful. So you have a rock formation, you can have a little waterfall going into a lake. Wow, this is a beautiful one. I really like this one. Oh, excuse me, I got turned around a little bit here. I'm so confused. And the Savannah one is also like a cave, sort of, and you have another hidden chest in there. So that's very, very cozy. We have the Swamp one, which kind of reminds me of a witch hut, maybe? A burnt down witch hut, or well, ruined witch hut at least. Then there's the Sparse Jungle one, which is also almost like a cave, or well, at least a home in a rocky formation. We got the Wooded Badlands, which is basically just a hill. You have like one cushion, and that's all there is to it. And that was actually the final one. I got so confused because I started going in the wrong direction. I'm such an idiot. But yeah, that is all the new camp variants added here in Snapshot 6. And if we take a look at maybe this one, the Wooded Badlands, we should be able to look at the blocks. And there is actually an oxidized copper chest somewhere. Yeah, I guess there is a hidden copper chest in all of the new variants. And finally, for this video, I thought we could take a look at all of the different variants that we have of the abandoned camp. So all of these are the bamboo jungle tents. And as you can see, there's of course the bamboo fences. There are some that are very clearly abandoned, some with some jungle leaves. There's lots of melons in these ones. You even have a small copper golem in this one, I think. Yeah, that's a copper golem standing in there. That's very fun. Yeah, so these are pretty fun. So as you can see, they changed something so that you don't see any of these with bamboo or jungle trees going up through them. But I'm pretty sure that they added it in such a way that there will still be able to spawn or well grow trees in between the tents. It will just not be a part of the structure itself anymore. Then if we take a look at the birch forests, you have a lot of flowers in these ones. So these are definitely going to be very cozy to explore. And then of course there are a few of them that are really scary with all the web. But then there's also one like this with the fallen trees. I really like the fallen trees ones. That is very funny. So it's probably been abandoned because of that, you know. And you have these flower gardens as well. This one is also very cute with all of the wildflowers inside. I really like that. All of the cherry grove ones. Once again, you have a tree fallen through the tent, and you got lots of space in ones like this to have a tree grow up inside it. I'm pretty sure that is still possible. And then of course you have plenty of the pink petals growing inside of these. Yeah, they're very cute, and here you can see there's actually a sapling right here, so that would of course eventually grow up into a full tree. Then there's the dappled forests one, and before there was a lot of trees in them. There was at least one tent with each color of poplar tree, but now there's only the one red fallen one. And then question is, can we see any saplings? I don't see any saplings. So I still think it will be able to grow naturally, but of course that is kind of missing here. And so for the flower forests, we have once again fallen trees, lots of tulips, we got some roses, we got one of the lilacs here, we got a very open tent right there. But yeah, this is a very cute tent, or well, abandoned camp, I guess, with all of the flowers. The regular forest is actually quite similar to that. There's almost no tent left right there or there. But yeah, very similar with fallen birch tree, fallen oak tree as well, some bushes. Yeah, it's pretty nice. When we take a look at the meadow, once again, very similar. I think this one stands out a lot actually, because that's just half a tent and then half, well, just grass, I guess, with some flowers. So that's very different. Then you got some blue orchids. I don't think we've seen that before, so that might be exclusive to this biome. Here you also have some wildflowers and some alliums. So this is also very, very cool. Then looking at the old growth birch forests, you have a very big tree going through one of the camps. Of course, you got plenty of roses. You actually also have a fallen tree inside of a tent. I don't know how that makes sense, honestly, but fair, it looks cozy. Then the old growth pine tigers, you start to see the boulders and the mossy cobblestone, and plenty of these have the webbings. Of course, it is the old growth, so it's kind of like it has to be more abandoned than old. Once again, we almost have only half a tent here, which is very special. We got the berries inside as well. So this one, I think I said this when I looked at the tents for the first time as well. So we have to imagine that a boulder rolled down a hill into this tent, right? Because of course the boulder came after the tent, because you wouldn't build a tent like this. So I have to imagine that the tent is abandoned because a boulder rolled into it. So that's quite crazy. The old growth spruce taiga, on the other hand, is well, it's basically the same, I guess. Lots of abandoned camps with webbings, lots of mossy cobblestone, only one with a boulder as well. This one over here is really overgrown with mushrooms. Then of course you have this one, which is basically no tent at all. There's nothing special about this actually. It could be anywhere. Shouldn't be an old growth spruce specifically. Lots of variation. You even got some dead bushes over here. Then the pale garden ones, of course, has a fallen tree. Once again, lots of cobwebs on multiple of them. You got the hanging moss, the pale moss hanging from the tents. Ooh, I like that. That's very, very creepy. Fits this theme very, very well. If we look at the savanna ones, of course we have to imagine that the grass would not be green. That would probably be the more damp savanna color, of course. Looking at the snowy taiga, these are a bit different. So here you can clearly see it's like a lot of snow has fallen through the tent, and that is why it's abandoned. Again, here you have lots of snow around it. Over here especially, look at this. It's like a lot of snow has been building up on the tent and then fallen through it. I really like that. We have a fallen tree, another fallen tree over there. So yeah, these make sense, and they are a bit unique compared to the others. So very, very fun. The sparse jungle ones, this is actually one of the few, if not the only one, that still has a tree as part of the structure that is not fallen over. So why that is the case with this one but not the others, I actually don't know. And to make this even more unique, you have a tree that has fallen over in this direction. I think that's also unique to this biome. There's lots of bushes, which makes sense for this biome. Of course, vines going into them. So this is actually a very unique biome, to be honest. Then the swamp ones are very fun as well. Once again, we do have a full tree standing regularly as part of the structure. Once again, why here and not anywhere else? I don't know. We got the lilacs. Of course, we actually got lakes inside of the tents. Once again, was the lake there before the tent or after the tent? You got the firefly bushes, and we even got some sugarcane over here. I think that's also unique to this one. Why it would only be in the swamp, I don't know. And of course we got a giant mushroom going through the roof on this tent. So also a very unique biome to find these tents in. Looking at the taiga biome, we got some fallen trees, lots of berries in most of them, I think. We got some gravel as well, makes sense. Once again, a very, very destroyed tent over here with basically nothing inside of it. Let me know down in the comments below if you see anything special. I would really like to know if you guys see something I don't. Now, the windswept forest has a lot of destroyed tents, there's almost none of these are complete or almost complete. They are very destroyed. You have one tree fallen through. Oh, you have another tree falling in this direction. That is quite fun. And finally, the wooded badlands. These are also a bit unique. So of course you have lots of them with cobwebs because they are very abandoned and that fits the biome. Then you have a kind of a unique barrel setup here. I think that's very much like each of the persons living in this tent definitely has their own barrel. Then of course you have plenty of red sand intertwined. You even have like a pillar of sand here. You have to imagine probably that the red sand has also piled up on top of the tents and then fallen through. You even have a cactus going through here. So yeah, these are also kind of unique and fun to explore. Now moving from the tents themselves into the camp. Now there are 4 variants of course for each biome. And this one was the new one, the very overgrown one here in the bamboo jungle. And the other ones had like melons and a rocky formation at one of them, and of course also the pot saw. So these are very, very fun. It's very fun that they added this very abandoned one, very old looking, I guess. It's very destroyed compared to the others that are very lush. So I guess they just wanted to add something that wasn't as lush. The birch forest ones, of course, lots of flowers. You even have a lake. You have one that is more abandoned than the others. And then of course you have the one with the rock formation here. There is no cobwebs at the cherry grove at all. You have one that is a bit longer here, and they are all very colorful. I especially like this one over here, although it doesn't make sense because we don't have bushes of cherry leaves, right? That's not a thing. So this must come from trees. That's quite interesting that they made it like that, to be honest. Looking at the dappled forest, no cobwebs either. Lots of fallen trees, which fits the biome, of course. Then you have this one, a new one, that is like lower down. Same goes with this one actually. And of course you have the boulder. I really like that we will get some boulders in the game now. Lots of boulders in these camps. Then there are the flower forest, and oh my goodness, these are so colorful. So we actually have some cobwebs back again, but they are in between all of these colorful flowers. You have the tulip one, then you have all of the big flowers over here, and then of course you have the new rose hill. Very, very colorful and nice to look at. Looking at the forest, there's lots of birchwood going around, bushes. Well, nothing special about these, I'd say, except for this one, of course, that kind of looks like something that belongs in a mine shaft, which is a very interesting choice. And I think when I look at the list of blocks used in all of these, there is always 2 oxidized copper chests. So I think for each biome there will be 2 of them that has the special hidden oxidized copper chest. The meadow is actually very interesting because this looks like the meadow. This also looks like the meadow. I really like the stepping up part of this. And then of course you have this one with the copper golem just sitting out there at the camp. That's very cute. But then you have this one which is just boulders and doesn't really look like the meadows, right? So that's gonna be quite interesting to find these. Also to add some variation to the nature of the meadows. Old growth birch forest, of course, looks a bit more abandoned. You got some more boulders and then in the birch forest. And you also have a lake with this one. Old growth pine taiga has loads of boulders, like lots and lots of boulders. And that is going to be such a cool find when you walk around in your Minecraft world. You even have a cave over here and also a cave over here. I really like that addition. That's such a cool variant. The old growth spruce also has a lot of boulders, not as big ones. They just look more abandoned and doesn't have that much going on, especially this one over here with the camp inside or in between the boulders. That's very cool. Looking at the pale garden, you have kind of a cave. Then you have this is also like pushed down a bit into the ground, another cave sort of. And then you have one which is just with a tree and then the resin blocks. That's very, very unique. I really like that. Looking at the savannah, you have another copper golem just sitting at the camp. Very cute. You got a boulder once again. You have another one with cobwebs looking very abandoned, and then you got another cave. The snowy taiga of course has lots of snow, so there are snow spread around. You even have a little golem underneath the snow over here. Lots of berries as well, and the destroyed igloo or whatever this is supposed to be. Looking at the sparse jungles, we have lots of trees actually in the sparse jungle. Which is kind of funny because it's a sparse jungle, but it's the one with the most trees. Camps in between the trees with a little bit of boulder action going on, almost like a cave over here. These are very, very cozy. All of these swamp ones, of course, have lots of water and trees and mushrooms. And then the destroyed witch hut over here. So these are also very unique and cool. I really like these. The tiger ones, only one with a boulder, which has the waterfall, which I really, really like. The other ones, some fallen trees, another lake, lots of bushes, berry bushes, ferns. The windswept forest. This is actually quite interesting because you have lots of ores in this one. So you have coal here, you have coal there, and there's even like an iron ore right there. That's quite interesting. So they are all in between the boulders or rock formations. And finally, for the biome specific ones, we got the wooded badlands that has lots of red sand and lots of cactus. So the new one is actually not that special. It's probably the most boring of them all. But the other ones, it's like a cave here. You even got some terracotta over here. Also with a cave kind of thing going on. Now, besides the 4 biome specific ones that can spawn in, there is also the default ones that has a high chance of spawning in every biome. And if we just take a look at these, there are up to 15 that has the barrel. And they are all just, well, kind of boring. It's a lot of dirt paths. It's a lot of gravel on them, regular dirt, and then just one barrel, I think, for all of them. So they are very, very simple and kind of boring camps, but then again, if you are exploring, looking around, I think it's gonna be fun to find these, even though they are not as cool as the biome specific ones. All of them are gonna be fun to find. Besides the barrel ones, there are also chest ones, and I think they are very similar to the ones with barrels. They just have chests instead, but there might actually be some differences. I think they are a bit different, to be honest. They weren't in the start, to my understanding, but they do look a little bit different now. Once again, the biome specific ones are definitely more fun to find. And then we have all these special default campsites to find, and they are more interesting. We got some with boulders, we got lots of cobwebs, we got hay bales over here, and then we actually have plenty of these with the mineshaft thing going on. Which I did not know was part of the default ones as well, but that's gonna be very cool to find as well. Once again, it would be cooler if it was like in connection with a mineshaft, but of course they cannot add that to the game. And then we have the other ones over here, which are all with camps. So you got with farms. So you got the carrot farm, hay farm, wheat farm, I guess, potato farm, and then a pumpkin patch right there. So I think they are very cool, the special ones here. So let me know down in the comments below what camps and tents are your favorite. I don't know if I have any favorite because I think all of them fits into their specific biomes. They just fit into the realism of Minecraft. So you don't want to find too many structures in Minecraft, and they don't need to feel special, all of them. So I think it's very good that there are some variation on how special they are. But either way, just take a look at this. I just came walking through the forest, just out there exploring. Maybe I just spawned into this world, first day in Minecraft, and then just walk around and you see, what is this? Oh my god, it's an abandoned camp sitting here on the lake side. Oh, that's so cool. And then you have some starting gear, and you can even sleep here. So you can actually start your adventure at an abandoned camp. and just adding these variations to the world of Minecraft. I think that's so cool. I'm really excited to start a new world and just explore and find these hidden treasures around the world. And with that, I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, then please do leave a like, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and maybe even become a member of the channel to support more video production. With all that out of the way, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.